Welcome back, people. My name is Armando from Bomberos on Fire podcast. I'm here with a special guest. It's a fitness guru, master, Jedi, whatever you want to call it. Partner, work partner, right? Sometimes,
Yeah.
and I get some overtime. I'll get
Hey,
force.
yeah.
Yeah. One of those two. Before we start, thank you for everybody from Europe, South America. I got people from Turkey and the Philippines,
Nice.
actually. I don't know how, but I got them.
That's good.
And I appreciate it. If you want me to continue doing this, please like, subscribe, share all the stuff that you see in every channel on YouTube or podcast. Please do it. I need sponsors, so whoever's willing to help out, I'm more than welcome to do it. I will say I'm a mercenary. I will sell it no matter what. So
Oh,
yeah. Hey, it's all
think
about
we can
that.
sell.
Well, with that, I'll introduce a good friend, Brian. The floor is yours. You can say who you are, what do you do, and why you're here today.
My name is Brian Astleford. Um, well, I'm a firefighter paramedic. Been a firefighter for about 20 years and paramedic about 26 years now. I'm also heavily involved in fitness, wellness within my department, branching out into other fire departments as well. So that's really where a lot of my kind of special interests go into right now, dealing with fitness and all that type of thing.
Yeah. And what makes you get into fitness? Start from there. Start from the beginning.
What made me?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I was a skinny uh,
No.
child. I was one of those hard gainers, what they call it, so I could not gain weight easily. I was constantly running around. As a kid, I was a runner, jumper. I mean, I could climb trees. I was all that stuff that, kids nowadays are told not to do. And,
Yeah.
we did it. But yeah, I was uh, active, fairly athletic child. Um, but uh, really got into sports very late. So um, I had one of those evil stepmothers, my dad's second wife. She was just did not want me involved in anything. And I didn't realize that till later when my dad was like, well, you weren't interested in playing sports. It was actually his third wife who
Oh shit.
was tired of me being at home running around like getting into trouble, whatever, and says he's going to start playing something. And she enrolled me in soccer. Prior to that, I was really just doing individual stuff, running, swimming. I did a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
I was on the track team. Did a lot of that kind of stuff. I was big into the when I was young, the endurance type stuff. But I did, I'll do body weight calisthenics at home, all that kind of thing. But really, I got into sports. I wasn't even in, I think it was sixth grade when I got into that. So I was behind the curve, even back then, where, not every parent thought their kid was going to be the next, Messi or Beckham or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, they really were, I had to catch up. So a lot of that, and I was kind of 2 seasons, mostly with everything with soccer. Went into some water polo because I was a swimmer. Did swimming for a
Yeah.
while on the swim team, and did football a couple of years. Pretty much dabbling in it. Never got great. Never was awesome in that. Always was killing it on like on the conditioning drills, all that. But trying to put it together into the team sport, uh, I was there, but I never was stellar. Was never jumping out there in front. But a lot of what I enjoyed was pushing myself personally, you know.
Okay.
So I think that's why I always jumped into endurance type stuff. I was raised up in Southern California, so we had, rock climbing. We had a lot of outdoor activity, dirt bike riding, did all that stuff. Loved it. When I got a 10 speed, that was my transportation, man. I was there going
Oh
five,
wow.
6 miles away from home. Nobody paid it. It was like, yeah, go do what you need to do. In the summertime, go to
You
the
see it
mall,
by. Yeah.
go to the
See it by.
library. Yeah,
Yeah.
join the book club. So I did a lot of activity out there. Um, but that's always what I like, pushing myself. And I think when I got moved here to Florida, I kind of whatever was in that funk, leaving the comfort
Yeah.
of the West Coast, coming out here. Um, Friends, all that was starting new, and I think I kind of backed out of a lot of that team sports stuff. I mean, my cousin was here and he was playing football and he kept pushing me to do it, and I was like, track. I didn't even go back into track, which I loved, and I just got into the weight room. I just got into that, which I had dabbled in before, but that was my big thing, getting into weights, becoming kind of a gym rat after a while, just pushing myself in there. It's kind of what I
Yes,
and
you did.
that caught on, consistently for till I had my kids, which started screwing up my schedule. But before
Yeah.
then, man, I was in there 2 hours a day, pretty much 5, 6 days a week. Um, just seeing where I could push myself.
Got it. That's crazy though. And so now your passion is lifting weights. This is what is your that
My
you say, you know what? I enjoy doing this type of exercise.
passion, I think, is exertion. I don't know. I mean, I've done CrossFit. I enjoyed it. I've done Olympic weightlifting, enjoyed it. I did powerlifting style. And when I talk this, I'm not talking really being competitive. One of the things I never really did was get into competition. But I'd always push myself there at the gym and all that. So, I've done the strongman lifts, the workouts, the Olympic lifts, workouts, all that stuff. And we'll kind of cycle through them every few years, try something new. All that stuff's great. I think the bottom line is just pushing myself individually, seeing how far I can go. And I think that's really what gets me in there, because it changes. You
Yeah,
know,
it is true.
um, I've been out milking and some minor sorenesses, some minor normalcies, getting older in age, scar tissue development in certain areas that have just been nagging me. I tried to get into with the CrossFit last year, and then I got back to the basics. Started just lifting, got the barbell, heavy lifting, um, and then alternate that with some kettlebell stuff. But the focus is just good movement, slow and steady, pressing it, and getting that joint pain to go away, And that's
Yeah.
kind of where I've been working on it and just building a stronger structure, you know.
Yeah. Especially when you
Um,
get to that age. I'm
yeah,
not
when you get to that age, you can't. The high intensity stuff is good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good if you can do it safely. If you can do it well. If you can move well, you can do all that stuff. The minute you start getting sloppy, that's when you start getting hurt, getting injured. You know. So that's where I'm going back to kind of slow and steady, making sure the movement is fine tuned before adding any speed to it. You know.
got it. I imagine when you start to become a firefighter, that's helped you a lot being in that condition. At least being athletic. At some point,
Yes.
you're gonna be a fat bastard doing
Yeah.
firefighting.
It was a wake up call because I was in EMS for about 5 years before getting into 5, 6 years before going into the fire service. So the problem with EMS outside of fire is it's not um, it's not tailored to the comfort of
No.
the to the worker,
No.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's rough. The hours are wherever. It's system status. It's really shitty. It beats up on people.
Oh yeah.
It's a crappy system everywhere you go. It's private, and so it's money based. Not they don't they can just run through employees left and right. So yeah, then when you work in somewhere like that, you kind of let yourself loose, and
And you
eating
eat like
diet
shit
was
too, though.
poor and all that. Yeah, and that was a wake up call coming into um, well, honestly, where I went from an ambulance where you go to the call and you're walking short distances to working in EMS and fire where I could walk a distance just from the truck to wherever I need to get to the patient, carrying equipment and all that. That itself got a little bit, when you're in your 30s, early 30s, and you're just feeling a little like you're breathing a little heavy, it freaks you out. You're
Hmm.
like, man, just went up a flight of stairs. What's going on?
Yeah,
You
wasn't
think
like
you're
that
gonna
before.
have a stroke or something. It's nothing, but it's just you're not used to that. You're not used to
Yeah,
feeling any type of exertion from the day to day job. And so when that started happening, I realized I had to change things up a lot. And I had done a lot of bodybuilding type style, 3, 4 sets of 10, building muscle hypertrophy, as they would scientifically call it, building muscle mass, muscle hypertrophy, right? So
getting
that's what was
swole.
my, huh? Yeah, getting swole.
Get, yeah.
Uh, and so, yeah, I changed that up into basically um, just lifting heavy for shorter sets, 5 sets of 5 kind of thing. I transitioned into that kind of programming and found that hugely beneficial. Like I wasn't sore, nothing felt heavy. Like, putting on gear, putting on an air pack, walking in and out of a apparatus, all that stuff, carrying equipment up a flight of steps didn't feel heavy at all. Felt just fine. So
Okay.
that's kind of a wake up call that I changed over into different programs because of that.
I got a, I
Obviously
got a,
cardio, but
yeah,
we'll
cardio.
get into that later. You know,
God, nobody wants to run. Nobody likes to run.
Nobody runs anymore. Hey, listen, I don't like to run anymore, and I loved it. I loved it growing up. But once you get out of it, it's hard to get back in it, and I just don't think we're promoting it. I don't think kids run much anymore unless they're in specifically in a cross country or in something like that. Um, and as we grow up, we're kind of getting out of it. And the CrossFit trend that started around 2000 or whatever really has pushed this high intensity stuff. Everybody loves high intensity, and it's good. It's really good. It builds up a nice anaerobic fitness level that a lot of people neglect, and it's great. But that type of fitness level is not holding up for the long haul, right? That's not where you're gonna get it. Where you get that cardio, that's where you're gonna get. You can run that distance. That's where you can continue to work, continue to work, continue to work,
Yeah.
and then recover afterwards. And I think if there's one benefit, you hate running. I do. I'm starting to get back into it. But the benefit of it is that you can recover faster. And
It's true.
if there's anything to that, you do whatever training, you're on a call and you're just wiped out, but you'll feel that you can, either continue, uh, switch out, uh, uh, switch your air pack, go back in, whatever you got to do, you'll feel like you can do that better. You feel like you can, and definitely after the call or whatever, the recovery is just a whole lot better. A lot.
Yeah, I started doing cardio. Well, I got a row machine, and that helped me a lot to recover
Yeah.
faster.
Oh
And
yeah.
and for those people that hate running, what will be an option for those that don't want to go running?
Well, the the rower is good, right? Here's my personal issue with a rower. It's not going anywhere. I'm sitting in one place.
Oh, yeah,
So, it's a minor thing, but it can be a mental thing that at least one of the things with running is I'm moving from point A to point B, and the more times further point B is the better, or whatever, or if I'm running on a track, I know I'm going around and around. Getting that lap, getting that lap. There's a motivation there to moving. On the rower, the bike, unless you're watching something on a TV, I think it's hard to motivate yourself to keep going on that thing, and that's an issue. The problem with that motivation, lack of, especially on the rower, I think is you can start tweaking yourself. Like if you get kind of bored, throw out your back, you hurt yourself on the rower because there's technique involved in it. But
yeah,
if you, outside of that, honestly, if you do, I like doing sleds for intervals. So, if you do, you're trying to, the whole idea of aerobic exercises is maintaining a steady heart rate, right? That's what you want to
yeah,
do. So you can go and do, say, 15-second sled pull, 15 seconds on, 45 seconds off. You know, the idea is that you're pulling hard for those 15 seconds to keep your heart rate up, and then you get the rest period every, do that kind of keeps that heart rate steady. You know, enough rest so you're not pushing yourself into that anaerobic. threshold level,
Yeah.
kind of keeping it little more steady, consistent. And that's going to be up to the person doing it. If you feel like you're huffing and puffing, you're pushing it too hard. So do that sled pull. If you need a little more rest, go ahead. As long as your heart rate stays up, you're good. You're maintaining
Okay.
that nice aerobic heart rate. But intervals like that, I'll mix that up with some pulls, reverse. Just the reverse pulls with straps. Do that for say 5, 6 rounds. Then go into sled pushes, and then maybe some intervals on a rowing machine. Mix it up. You know.
Mix it up. Don't get
Yeah, mix
bored.
it up. But I think if you do that again, 10 to 15 seconds, pretty high intensity while you're doing it, and then give yourself a nice long rest period in between. That gives you a pretty good, similar to it gives you some cardio. That's a little better, different, similar to running, but not obviously not the same,
Not yet.
but very similar. As long as you can keep that heart rate up,
You should
in
be
that
fine.
area. And you don't need that heart rate blasting into over the 150s, 160s. That's anaerobic stuff that you crank up your heart rate. Do it for short intervals and all that. You know,
Something steady.
yeah,
Low
steady,
steady.
easy. Yeah,
Yeah. Gotcha.
yeah.
And
Any circuit training that you do in that manner is going to give you that kind of benefit. Just make sure you're going and keep. If you have a heart rate monitor, maintain that anaerobic level there, and you should be fine. Or that
yeah.
aerobic. I'm sorry, aerobic level.
Yeah. And I got another question for those people that may be curious. What is the exercise program or tendency or discipline that is closer to being a firefighter?
You're asking a loaded question.
Hey, I have to.
Um, uh, I mean, here's the deal. Everything works. Okay, I'm gonna quote one of my favorite coaches and all that guy I've talked to a few times, Dan John. Right, everything works. Okay, if you are sedentary and working as a firefighter, standing up and down off the lazy boy is going to give you a workout in comparison to what you were doing just sitting on the lazy boy. You know what I'm
That's true
saying? I
though.
mean, everything is adding.
Yeah.
The goal is to add stress to your body. That's what really fitness is your body's adaptation to physical stress. That's all it is. You're adding this, and it's adapting to it. Um, you know, it depending on what you need. That to me is a more important question. What do you need? Yes, you need to be able to perform, right? To me, firefighting is a strength and conditioning type need, right? And when you look at strength and conditioning compared to general fitness, you need to be able to. To me, it's like build strength and then condition yourself for the job needs. How you do it
Okay.
doesn't really matter, I don't think, but you should do some high intensity stuff. You should do some circuit training. That's good. Um, you should build up that anaerobic fitness, do some cardio. But to me, no matter what, you gotta lift heavy shit. Okay, you gotta lift some heavy shit,
Yeah.
and that it doesn't mean you go out there and pick up the heaviest sandbag out in the bay. Okay, it doesn't mean you're gonna go out there and do a 2.5 times your body weight deadlift. All right, it means you go out there and start training yourself towards that goal. You know, you're going to get longevity. You're going to build a lot better structure in your body by adding that stress, you know? So, I think to me, the number one thing is build the foundation. That means stability, mobility. Okay. We gotta, and it's not just stretching. It's not just, stretches
Yeah.
and planks. Those are good. That's great. The issue with stretching is that statistically speaking, everything they've done research wise, they're not ever finding that just the normal static stretching that we do increases range of motion, right? They're not finding that. So, what increases range of motion is movement, right? So, you got to get your body moving in certain planes of motion, and eventually your brain starts adapting. starts allowing your joints, all that stuff, to start changing. So that it's the reason why we brought, FMS, right?
Yeah.
Was years ago, back in 2017, we started doing FMS. 2016, that a couple of our trainers started going into that, right?
Yeah.
And we did that back in the day because we needed a foundation. Where do you start? Where do you start with people? Where do we even begin? Getting people from point A to point B. And it obviously was mobility, stability. And that's what the screen, if you do the functional movement screen, by the way, for people who don't know what FMS is, the functional movement screen will hit that with a few movement patterns, right? Take 7 movement patterns,
Yeah.
and you're going to get a score for all those that you do. And through that, we can kind of crunch the numbers and figure out what people need as far as movement uh, correctives, movement exercises, things like that. And the idea is, of course, increase the score, but that system always starts with mobility and stability first. Hit those
Yeah.
things. That is your foundation: mobility and stability. Be able to move. Um, be able to activate that core strength, be able to tense up the body the way it needs to so it can absorb the stress that you're going to put on it throughout the day. Definitely working as a firefighter. So these are really important things that I think everybody kind of forgets about, that, you have to be able to activate your core when you lift, keep your back in a nice straight manner, things like that. These need to be muscle memory, not just, I got to think about it. You don't have time when you're lifting a patient that's a little heavy. You think, I got it. And
Oh
that
yeah.
backboard's bending and you're like, whoa, and you have that stress.
Oh
You
yeah.
need to be able to tense that body and immediately know I can support myself, lift that patient up, or you're going to throw yourself forward. You're going to tweak yourself. Um, so yeah, learning how to just move through planes of motion is really your number one thing. And that's just through the basic movement patterns, you know. No matter
Yeah.
what you do, you need to know how to squat. You need to know how to hinge. You need to know how to do a pushing, pulling movements, those kind of things. So everything, no matter what you program, you got to have, to me, number one, the hinge, deadlift, or some type of hinging motion, squatting, pushing, pressing, pulls, and carries. And I mean
Yeah.
like loaded carries. Something you're carrying something fairly heavy. Farmers walk, suitcase carries, overhead carries,
The
handbag
sandbag.
carries. All that stuff is going to help build that strength foundation. That to me is your number one thing. And run. Do some cardio. Go out there and do
Yeah.
something. Sprinkle it on there
And
for a bit because it's hard. I mean, let me tell you, if you don't like cardio, it's hard. There's no easy way about it, But
yeah.
you know, getting out there and doing half a mile is better than doing nothing. Okay, go out there and do that. And if you don't like running, find something else to do. Walking is being found to be incredibly beneficial. And I don't mean just
Yeah.
going out there walk. Get a good pace in, not speed walking, but just a good pace where you feel a little bit of your heart rate rising up and all that. So all that's good. If you
No,
can
that's great.
find programming that adds all that together, I think you're going to be gold. You know,
Yeah, I
but
think so.
here's the thing: when you're talking about someone who's starting's a whole lot different than being involved in something currently. And if you ask me where do you start, I say find a space in your floor and start doing stuff. Plank, push-ups, elevated push-ups. Get yourself on a chair and do push-ups if you can't do them flat on the ground. Not girl push-ups. Okay, get your knees up. Right, we're doing it from a planking position.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that, man. To start doing that. You can do inverted rows on a table as long as your table is nice and firm. Just get underneath your table, start pulling yourself up a little bit. There's a lot you can do. Just get some space and do it. You know.
Just basically
Um.
do it. Just
Yep.
find a way.
Just find it, and that's something you can drop and do right now. Drop your phone. Stop this. Stop watching this, and go work out.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Yeah.
Hold a second.
Okay. Finish this, and then go work out. But
But
there's no
before you
excuse.
drop it, you need to subscribe and then drop it.
Yeah.
What do you? I got a question. What is the essential gym equipment that everybody have to have? I know nobody can afford a row machine because that shit gets expensive. But something that you think, you know what, I can do a lot with this equipment. Could be
Yeah.
a barbell. I don't know. What do you think?
You're talking about home gym type of thing. If
Home
somebody
gym
wants to set up
or
a home gym, that's a whole
home
podcast in
gym or?
itself, I think, right there.
Oh, I
So,
know. That's what we. This will be a second part. Yeah, but
yeah. You know, to get more bang for your buck, honestly, let's, the dreaded CrossFit, the CrossFit, if you look at that type of equipment, what they set themselves up with. That was always what was nice about that system originally, right? It was minimal equipment, getting the most out of the minimal equipment, right?
yeah,
So you go into a CrossFit gym, it was a way different experience back then, 20 years ago. It was like, whoa, look at this. It's a warehouse. It's almost empty. It's got a few things here and a few things there. Big
that's
open
it.
spaces. So if you look at that minimizing stuff, obviously, um, with CrossFit, it was usually a barbell, plates, squat rack, and then you add some kettlebells and things like that. But that's that's basic equipment. The problem with dumbbells, they cost it's a lot of money to buy dumbbells, right?
Yeah, you have to
All of
compare
it's a lot
too.
of money. So dumbbells are expensive. If you can get those adjustable ones, it's probably good. But honestly, at home, I'm a big fan of the kettlebell, as you know. I mean, kettlebells are good. You can do anything with, I'd say anything. You can do conditioning, you can do pressing. Yep, there you go. Simple and sinister. That's your first read. Okay. So if you want to
Yeah,
get into kettlebells, Pavel, Celine, I think it's Celine. I think that's how you pronounce it.
yeah. It's a Russian
Um,
guy.
Yeah, Russian guy. Simple and Sinister is his book, and he talks in detail about two exercises. That's it. It's two exercises. It's
The
the
swing,
kettlebell swing and it's the Turkish get up. And
which is a bitch. God damn.
it yeah, you do but here's the thing. The simple program is building up to a 70 pound for men. 70-pound single arm kettlebell swing for 105 minutes, right? You got it each single arm, 100 of those in 5 minutes, and then 10 Turkish get ups, I think within 10 minutes or something, I think after
Yeah,
that, with a minute rest in between. So again, it's 70 pounds. Now that's a beast to start off with. Um, but you start
yeah,
off with what you can, 35 pounders, whatever, and build up two handed. And then you move up. And the book talks about how you can do this and ways to do it. But that's a great read. And it's real simple because you just start off with whatever kettlebell you can handle, um, and then move up in kettlebells. And they'll tell you you don't have to buy every size kettlebell. You take jumps. Sandbags are another great option. Very, fairly inexpensive. Sand costs about $4 or $5 for 50 pounds of play sand.
yeah,
Um, the sandbags are a little pricey, but again, man, that's good stuff. Um, but a real simple, easy, take big jumps, so you don't need that many sandbags. If you take the next jump and it's too heavy, well, you do less. Who
yeah.
cares?
Take some sand
It's
out. Yeah,
yeah. The beauty of a sandbag is if it gets you get, it's like sleds and sandbags, man. When it comes time to when you get fatigued, you can just let it go, just
yeah,
drop it. You don't have to worry about the injuries and all that from it crashing down on you like a barbell.
yeah,
So kettlebells, sandbags take up minimal space. Definitely, if you're getting your garage set up, go to the what's it called? The
Fine.
the farm store. What is the Tractor Supply?
Oh,
I'm sorry, Tractor
the
Supply.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Tractor supply. Yeah, like a Home Depot for
Get
farm
your
people.
yeah
Yeah.
some horse stall mats. You
Oh, those are
know.
great. I got some in my gym.
Yep.
Here in my
Throw
house.
about they're about $40 a pop, and they're 100 pounds, so you might need a friend to carry them, a pickup
Yeah,
truck or something. They're about 100 pounds. They'll roll it up and throw it in the back of your car for you, but you got to deal with it when you get home.
yeah.
But yeah, those are
I know.
great. That's a great flooring system for your house, for your garage, or whatever. Um, some kettlebells, some sandbags. That's a way to start. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the minimum stuff, and you can buy now. Literally, go to Home Depot and buy sandbags.
yeah,
As simple as that.
yeah.
And then you buy. We call it work overtime. Buy the the sled.
Yes, you can get the sled. Gotta have a yeah. The sled is good, man. Sleds are good.
You have to have it. You have to have it. But it's expensive. I
Eventually,
know because I have one. It's expensive. Because
yeah.
I'm a big fan of strongman competition, so I usually follow that training system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into strongman crap, so I pick up heavy
Yeah,
shit all the time. I'm not fast, but I'm strong. I always
yeah,
say that. But
yeah. Find your strengths.
yeah, if I'm just trying,
Work with your
yeah,
strengths.
yeah, exactly. And what is the number one thing that you see on firefighters that's the weakest point for us in your 20 years of career or 55 years? Because I know you old, but Jesus.
I mean, yeah, the same. It's funny because it's the same thing we're finding in screening and all that. It's shoulder, hip mobility. It's core stability. Right. These are the weaknesses. You don't. I mean, you don't have to be incredibly strong to do the job. Right.
No,
Got to understand. There's a reason why you want to get stronger. Is because it makes it easier. You're less prone to injury if you're stronger. You don't have to be a beast to do the job. Um, but you do need to get that mobility and stability in check. You gotta um, you gotta get it to be able to get that body to activate and tighten up and tense up in the right manner when you're moving stuff around or when you're out there doing your job.
yeah,
So that's really the thing I see with new people, with some of the younger. Well, I not younger for me, generations.
well,
They're not younger. They're not
everybody's
really younger
younger.
anymore, right? But
E- Everybody.
something I noticed years ago is the kind of the hunched over slightly, neck kind of jutting forward a little bit. And it's mainly just these devices, computers that is sitting in long periods, probably in schools and stuff on computers and stuff. You get that kind of issue with the
Mm,
back, and that's going to have issues with the shoulder mobility, down the road. So that's a big thing. Thoracic spine um, mobility is needs to be worked on. That's actually that part of the spine does has is more mobile, and say the lumbar. Lumbar is not designed to really move that much.
yeah,
That's why the hips need to be moving, the not the
on the
lumbar
back.
spine.
Yeah,
Yeah, not the back, the hips. You know, that's why we deadlift. We don't deadlift with our backs; we do it with our hips. But
yeah,
again,
and
um,
your thighs.
yeah. So and those are the things we've got to get into. And again, we don't do that just going out and stretching. You go out there by doing quality movements, and there's exercises you got to do. Several that you can do. You want hip mobility, you can Google that. Right? You want shoulder mobility, you can Google that stuff. The goal is to don't be sloppy.
Yeah,
Slow down, do your movements nice, do your movements correctly. Look in a mirror to an extent, if you want, or film yourself doing it. See where your problems are, because that's the biggest thing I see is just piss poor movement in training. And that's the other thing. Once you put that gear on, it throws you all off. So
yeah, because
again,
you got 75 pounds extra.
yeah. So I mean, repetitions. No matter what you do, repetitions are for developing that muscle movement, that muscle memory. You're in the gym. You want to do stuff that's going to translate to the field. It's going to translate to the training ground. It's going to translate out into the real working world. Um, so you can, so it's automatic. You don't have to think about it. Like I said, you go down there to lift a patient up. They can be strapped to that backboard and all that, and you think you're good by yourself, or
No,
even if
no.
you're four pointing of how many times you, not to name any names, but how many times you've done a 4 point or something like that, and there's that one side that's like, whoa, hey man, throwing them off. It's gonna
Oh
throw
yeah,
that one person in a four-man lift or four-person, sorry, four individual, four firefighter or whatever lift is going to could screw everybody up, including the patient, right? Because they're
oh yeah,
so that to me is an issue, and I think the biggest thing is that I've seen as far as weaknesses go is, and it's not just our part, it's everywhere, is when you see that issue and it's not dealt with, it's ignored, you know.
Yeah.
um and that's in a lot of cases, and everybody's susceptible to that. So I mean, it falls on everyone. So it's not just like talking and saying, oh, these people, because that's a problem. Is we do that a lot in firefighting. We sit there and we point it to these, and it's like, well, everybody's there. We've seen it in everyone, just in different facets. It could be in
Yeah.
fitness, it could be in in training and all that, and we all have to be able to see that and get that shit in check. So that's probably the biggest weakness, and it goes there, and that goes with the complacency thing, that goes with the stress, the PTSD, because you don't know what's wrong with these people. You may
That's
sit
true
there and
too.
be like, hey, why don't you go work out? And they're like, you know what I got going on at home? You know what? They're about to explode, but they're
Yeah.
telling you this, so they're smiling and they're cool because they're too afraid to let on that I'm a fucking train wreck.
Yeah.
So you don't know
Yeah.
what's going on with those type of people.
And that's one of the benefits of working out, or the mental part that
Yes.
takes you away from that stress and release
Hmm.
a lot of the stress, regardless what type of workout you do. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It just help you a lot, improve your mental health. And that's one of the things that everybody that I talk to, especially psychologists or people in that field, you say you need to work out. There's no other way around it. You need to work out, even if it's just
Yeah.
walking around the house. It doesn't matter. It's just to me, that's the most beneficial part of working out. Besides, obviously, getting stronger and fit for the work and all that crap, but
Yeah.
the mental aspect is huge. I got a couple questions too. So let's say,
Oh,
right, you go to the station, you're in charge because you are kind of the fitness. How do you motivate somebody who's been about to retire, or he's lacking of fitness and he's at the end of the career? Do you know what? Get out and do some workout.
um,
That's a tough one, probably.
that's always tough because you have to know the
The
crowd.
person.
I think being sincere. The bottom line is this: you come in there and say we made the mistake. We all did it when I started becoming into this fitness and going to conferences and all this stuff. Have been the biggest things you always said is these old people, they can't do the job. And then you stop and be like, well, honestly, I've seen the old guys do the job. I've seen even where we're at. I've seen the old guys. We're working, and I'm like, well, this SOB won't stop. And you got
Yeah,
to take a tool out of his hand. He's saying, hey, you're gonna kill yourself. They go. The issue is afterwards.
yeah,
And so so a lot of the old timers, you can't use that. They can't do it. Sometimes they can do the job. The issue isn't that they can't do the job; it's that they can't recover afterwards. And then they have issues down the road, whatever. But a lot of it is just come in there and I think just talking to them, talking to those guys. I don't know, hey man, this is what we're here for. They don't need hand holding. The older guys don't need hand holding. Um, but when they do come around, I've had a lot of them talk to me and express, uh, they were very favorable to things like we come around to the stretching routines. They're very favorable to that. Yes, they complain. There were some of the biggest complainers when you went there, but afterwards they said,
yeah,
"Hey, man, that's really helped me out." Um, the other thing is, I know when I brought a lot of the sleds and sandbags and that stuff that is in the bay, we brought that out years back, and that got a lot of positive from them. There's guys that had said, "Hey, I just went out there, pushed that thing around a little bit, and I feel much better. I just feel great." So, I think it's just being there, being available, coming in there and not trying to point them out and say you're the weak link, because the truth of it is they may not be. You don't, they may seem like it, but that might not be the issue.
the case. Yeah,
But I think just be sincere with them and just say, hey man, you're about to retire. Um, you know, I'm here if you need some assistance, or,
yeah,
and being available, I think. And they'll come to you if they want you. And it may not be for a workout, because sometimes that's not the best thing. And that's one of the biggest, somebody who needs to get, who's saying, I need to get back, I need to get back, I need a workout. And you're like, No, you need to, you get a workout. What's going to happen with it? It's like you need to, before you go ask for a workout, get your, like I said, find that empty space, start stretching, start doing some body weight stuff, get yourself motivated. Just do it. Do it. And when you feel like you're ready for that, for the next step, then you go and ask for a workout routine or something like that. Get with somebody on that.
Got it. Yeah.
But you just got to get yourself moving in that direction first.
Yeah.
Because,
And it's tough part to not convince, but try to talk to the people that in the drop or about to retire.
yeah,
And what do you say? Somebody's on the middle. It's not a brand new firefighter, but it's not the guy's about to retire. The guy's in the middle
the
to
best,
motivate him to work out.
the best motivation is the group. You know that.
Yeah.
If you can get a couple people at a crew or station that is interested, and two of you go out to work out, that turns into three, that turns into four. That's really the best motivator. If you can, obviously, if you can get the lieutenant, in the fire service, the funniest thing is the lieutenant is willing to do it. All of a sudden, everyone seems to come walking out. Not
Yeah.
everyone, but most people, and I'll be like, I'm not going to do much, but I'll be present, and that's great. Present's fine. Just I think the biggest issue is when you think that everybody's going to do something at the same time. It's not. As a trainer or whatever. It's just a person who's trying to motivate the fitness. Don't expect everyone's going to do the exact same thing. Everybody's going to do it the same way. Just let them do whatever. As long as they're there, you have their attention and all that, and they'll probably eventually move into whatever it is.
Got it.
Get involved more and more. But I think getting someone present is the big thing. Whatever they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that I think working the group dynamic is the best option you can. You also have to understand that some people do train and they have serious programs for some reason. You come out there and want to just throw them into some gauntlet of whatever, and like, wait a second, man, hold on, I just did this. So hopefully that person says, hey, man, just come out, just be part of it, just do whatever.
Yeah.
Don't go
Just be
crazy,
present.
don't push it. You don't need this. You don't need this whatever, thing that I'm throwing out there. You don't need it as much. You're in good shape, whatever. Just, be out there and help influence and help motivate because that's good because people that are already working out don't need to be, but if they can be out there helping to motivate and all that, I think that's a great thing,
Yeah. So become an influencer. That's basically what
Yeah,
it is.
you don't need a podcast to be an influencer, right?
No, you don't need a pocket influencer. You don't need to be naked to be an influencer, or have a bikini, or OnlyFans to be an influencer.
Huh. Maybe get you more viewers.
That's true, though. Hey, it's eye candy. That's
Yeah,
true.
definitely.
And yeah, we're almost an hour. So people
Okay.
scared of deadlift. People scared of deadlift. Most of the people, I don't want to do that. I'll fucked up my back. What do you say to those people? Hey, it's not scary, but actually, if you're a firefighter, you
Yeah.
need it because we pick up heavy shit
Well,
from the floor. Literally, we do a deadlift.
everything. Look, I am scared of certain people's deadlifts. Okay, I've seen deadlifts that are scary. So there's a reason to be apprehensive to an extent. I mean, there's a reason to be. Listen, you're walking into a workout room. You're walking into a fitness area. You're walking in a weight room. Take it seriously. This isn't the time to fart around. Don't fuck around when you're coming in there. Okay. Um, be ready to get your body to work. That's the whole idea. So yeah, if you're gonna half-ass it, you're gonna hurt yourself. That's all there is to it. And when at the deadlift, it's like, okay, know how to hinge first. Don't go out there. Bench press is scary too. To me, the scariest exercise in the gym is the bench press. Okay,
Really?
people like to bench without any spotter bars, without anything, and they want to bench, right? They like to bench because they benched 20 years ago, and they were, man, I benched 315 back in the day. Okay, well, guess what? You're not gonna do that today. You haven't been doing it for a while. They get under that bar, no spotters, nobody in there, and that thing is the
Hmm.
one exercise that can actually kill you, right? That thing comes down on your neck, you're
Ooh.
done for.
Yeah.
So that to me is the scariest thing. Come into the weight room, be serious. Number one. Number two, get your movements down. Do some warm ups. And again, hinging, you have to have that hip mobility down to an extent. Um, And the deadlift is just that. It's hip mobility. It's core strength. Because honestly, what the strongmen you learn from strongman lifting and all that is the obliques that keeps your back
Yeah.
lined up, right? You
Yep.
tighten those obliques, that belt of going around you, those obliques, you tighten those things up, and your back's gonna stay nice and straight, right?
Yep.
Because again, it's not so much that there's a bend in the back. You see some of these big, strong power lifters and strong men, their backs are curved. But when they lift, they ain't straightening it out. That back stays curved. They're not straightening it out under load. They're keeping that back in that same curvature. So it's about all the movement. Basically, it's coming from that hip area, you know? And guess what? If you don't have that range of motion, start with Romanian deadlifts. Start
Oh
with
yeah.
start with the bar on the rack. Like you know, put the spotter bars out there, whatever, and have that bar up from a high position, hip position, and all you're doing is working on getting low. And then you can increase range of motion that way. Start from the high, work the low. And instead of worrying about lifting it off the ground, start it from a higher position before
Hmm.
you load it.
That
So
totally makes sense.
Romanian deadlifts, stiff-legged deadlifts, whatever, to get that. Good mornings are good too. That's um, and
Yeah.
but again, good mornings. I would say you would move up to a good morning because you need to make sure you got that core strength when you're doing
Yeah.
good mornings because you're leaning forward. You're basically again, you don't want to be bending that back while you're doing it, but get that hip mobility down, and then you work on the deadlift. That's the catch to it. But understand when that deadlifts are designed to be heavy. Like I said, you do deadlifts heavy, and you can start adding weight pretty fast. You can increase weight pretty quick on a deadlift once you get it down and know how to do the lift. Um, so that's the issue is just keeping up with it. Don't try to go too fast. If you want high reps and all that, there's no reason to really deadlift. Do the Romanian deadlifts, do the good mornings and stuff, and
Yeah.
you'll get some of the same benefits. That big what do you call that glute ham machine? Glute ham machine's awesome
Oh
for
yeah.
glutes and hams.
Yeah.
Learn how to do them correctly, and if you do it right, if you do it well, you can also get a back extension out of it. Do glute hams and back extensions all in one exercise.
That's true.
So
That's true.
that's an awesome tool. I know everybody loves this Nordic curls now. Nordic curls, fine, that's great. You know, but if you got a glute ham, which I know in our department you do, glute hams are great. You know,
It's
just
somewhere on the
again learn
bay.
how to do it. Ask somebody or go Google that shit. And find out how to do those exercises correctly.
Yeah. It's on the bay somewhere between all the trucks.
Yeah, collecting dust. Yes,
I know because
it's
I
useful.
use the sandbags. They are next to the machine in
Yeah.
the sled,
Yes.
so I know
Yeah.
what it's at in the
That's in the
station.
way of the sandbags. Yeah. No, the
Exactly.
thing. Yeah. It's a good device. It is bulky, but again, you got to make sure everybody, every size and shape can use it. So
Yep. That's true.
the smaller ones are prone to tip, so they make them nice and robust.
Yeah, it
You know,
works.
yeah.
I don't know if you do you still training people like individual. You still doing that, like going to people's places or gym and as a personal trainer.
Not currently, not right now.
Uh,
I'm looking. I don't know. Looking into. I'm kind of busy, so I don't really have a lot of time to do that. I was. Yeah, I'm not really doing that currently outside of work,
yeah, yeah,
and even in that work, one of the goals I think one of the big goals of a wellness program, fitness, get your fitness down, get your fitness programming and stuff together, which has been probably one of the big hurdles is getting something down that's solid that everybody can agree on. Um,
no, that would be
but getting
impossible.
to the people, being able to get to the individuals that need the help, and that's always the back and forth because who cares what you're doing if you're not getting people better?
That's true.
I mean, you can check off all your boxes. I got this program. I got this. We do this, and we. Well, do you? What are you doing with it? What's your
When half of the
results?
people is a medical leave because of injury, like,
Yeah, I mean,
come on, son.
so you know, you got to get to the people that need it, and we've we've worked on it. I've worked on it. I've been working on it for what,
A while.
12 something years or a while. We had a program, we put it out there, and off to the wind flies. So,
I feel you.
which it, so
I feel you.
it is what it is. But so rebuilding something like that would be great, but you got to get to the people.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
get to the individuals. You can have a lot of great programs and a lot of great little events and things. You can do group exercises, but again, you see a group exercise and there's people that are struggling because they can't do basic stuff. Their movements are poor. You got to be able to take them to the side and say, hey, or do something for them, or
Yeah,
just
let's.
work with them. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I agree. I agree.
and that's the issue that's got to be worked out between labor management, everybody involved,
Oof.
and everybody needs to be involved. That's another aspect of it. Is I think in the past where we've seen things fall through or slip through the cracks, just get ignored or just whatever vanish in thin air, is that not everybody, not all the stakeholders are involved, and people
Yeah.
don't realize they're stakeholders. And it's like, well, you're doing something that is a culture change potentially. Maybe not so much now, but when we started, it was definitely a culture change. And number two, it's gonna affect the operation. So anyone who's involved in operations, daily operations, should be involved in trying to figure out, how do we do this? How do we make this happen? Where can we
Yeah.
go?
Yeah.
And it's not going to be, the first couple ideas are not going to be the goal, man. I mean, you're going to put something out there and it's like, we'll try it and see where it goes. And we can maybe do this, but we can't do that. But let's do something, and we move in a direction, and then we tweak it as we have to go. First couple ideas may crash and burn, but as long as you're moving in the right direction,
Yes. Yeah.
that's what's important.
That's a firefighter. That's adapt and overcome. That's what we do all the time, 24/7.
Yep, we do.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, if anybody interested in watching this podcast and want to talk to Brian about any fitness related, what is the best place to contact you? You have a social media? I
No,
don't know. I don't think you have a social media. You don't even have OnlyFans.
no, nah, no, not really. Um, yeah, I don't have anywhere to contact really.
If somebody's
Uh,
interested, hey, you know what? This guy has some
they can,
potential. I got
they can
something
contact
on
you.
the right here.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I guess I'll have to throw something out there, but
yeah, I'll put
yeah,
it
I
in
don't.
the, I will put it in the description of the episode. Whatever contact information you want me to put, I'll put it there. For those who are
Okay.
interested in talking to you about fitness and how to improve their fitness program on their fire department or whatever they are, I'll put whatever you want me to. Nah, people contact you, I'll put it there.
All right.
Sounds fair.
Sounds good.
Hey, hey, you never know. And before we
Yeah.
go, who you recommend to talk on the podcast besides a friend that you know from somebody that you
Uh,
know, could be from work, could be from outside. Who recommend talking on the podcast? Because I talk to everybody, as you know too. Everyone,
yeah.
everyone's invited. I don't discriminate.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few people that I could. I don't know. I'm trying to think on the top of my head, but
You don't have
I
words to
mean,
talk. What?
huh?
You can talk right now. What?
I'm thinking. You caught me. I mean, who else
Woo!
is? I mean, I've yeah, like we've been trying to get um someone, Allie Gilbert. I don't know if you've heard of
Yeah,
her.
from behind the shield.
She's
Yeah,
really good about the testosterone and a lot of the men's health
yeah,
issues. We really been trying to get her involved in the fire service. It's not been the best success, but she's really good to contact. If you can contact
yeah.
her, I like Gilbert. She is married to Charlie Weingroff. He's great. Um, Strength and conditioning coach. I think they both live down in South Florida there.
Yeah.
But
Just send me the contact
I'll
info, and
send
I
you some of
will.
that info. See if they're interested in that.
Yeah,
But they're busy, so But
somebody else.
we'll see.
Hey, if I talk
We'll
to
see what we
Jose
can find.
Ortiz and I talk to Andrew
Let's
Simpson,
take it to. Yeah. You did. I
I
haven't heard
did.
that
And Ali.
podcast.
Andrew's great.
Um,
And Ali too. Ali was yeah. He was interesting.
yeah, I mean, you know what? Bert, of course, is good.
Yeah.
Um, Bert Bagera. Um, he's there. You know who you need? Um, Adams, Mike
Who
Adams,
Adams? Mike Adams?
Mike Adams.
All right, I'll talk to Mike Adams.
He's an amusing gentleman.
I will talk to him. To Mikey Adams. He has a
I think
podcast too, you know,
yeah,
right?
'cause Mike Adams. He was talking to me about he does like
He got a
with
podcast
humor.
too.
He's a big into humor. Yeah, and he's all about humor and stuff. And I think discussing humor in the fire service is probably a big.
Yeah. And we
It's a
have the
good
same sense
topic.
of humor. We have the same dark sense of humor.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to
Like
kind of.
we take the humor to the extreme, me and Mike, when we're together.
Yeah.
We don't go to HR. I don't know how we don't go to HR.
No. Yeah, because nobody else is listening. I don't know. Maybe
Probably. Hopefully. Nobody understand. So even
you got to
better.
be careful. Yeah, yeah, you gotta watch out. Being around the two of you, right?
Oh
Because
yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
end up going to HR.
Somebody will go to HR.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like during this week I was doing the confined space training, and I came out of
Uh-huh.
the hall and I say, "Hey, welcome to America! Yay!" So, thank you, Biden. Now I can vote. You can see everybody's faces just like losing it.
He's a little too serious about all that.
I know, right? That's too serious. But with
Yeah.
this note, thank you so much, Brian, for being the podcast. I appreciate your
No
time.
problem.
It's been
Yeah.
great. Hopefully this information can multiply and share everybody, because it's good information about fitness and the fire service and in general too. Anything else you want to add before we go? If we take different path, and I'll see you after shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No.
All right. With
Just yeah.
that, thank you
All right,
guys.
man.
Appreciate it. Please subscribe, like all that shit that you guys see in every YouTube channel. Please do it. Somewhere in between up and down is the subscribe button. Please click on it. I need to keep growing as a channel. This will be great. And
All right.
Ryan, thank you
I'll
so
click on
much,
it.
bro. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank
And
you.
have a great day.
You too, man.
Bye.
Bye.